Time now for yet another vlog via my vlogs channel. And if you have a vlog suggestion that I've yet to do, be sure and check the vlogs playlist first. But then, if it's like, oh, he hasn't done my vlog suggestion, then send it my way via the comment section, Twitter, Facebook, our Discord, all the social media links to the Go Burners Nation linked below in the description section. And if you have a vlog suggestion that's very personal, that you kind of want to be anonymous about, that's perfectly fine. Just DM it to me via Twitter, Facebook, or Discord, and just let me know that you wish for that particular topic to be, an anonymous suggestion from you, even though you don't want people to know it was you. Perfectly fine. Feel free and send that to me as well when it comes to your vlog suggestions. Today we are talking about influences, or influence itself. Now, every day I feel like we are influenced by a lot of things happening in our world at a global level and at a local level, at a personal level, multitude of facets when it comes to influence. And it's something that I think shapes us in more ways than we realize. I mean, we'll start at the very beginning. You are influenced by your parents, your legal guardians, those that raise you and take care of you from an early age. You're influenced by their behavior, whether or not they treat you right, whether or not they spoil you, whether or not they are abusive, unfortunately. That does have an influence on you growing up early on, at the very beginning. And the family that you're surrounded with has an influence on you as well, for better or worse. And it can be a little bit of both sometimes. There's some good aspects that influence you, and then there's some bad influences that come your way as well because of family members. And then it stretches out a little bit further to siblings, if you have any siblings, friends, as well as when you start to get old enough to go off to school and get education. Then you're influenced by the teachers who happen to be assigned to you, whether they're good teachers or bad teachers, because unfortunately, both exist out there. So if you have a good teacher early on, or several good teachers, and you go to a good school with good education, then you're going to get a really good influence when it comes to education, to learning, to studying, especially if at home you're also getting that influence from your family, encouraging you to make good grades, to study hard, to pass your tests, and always be mindful of the future. So definitely all of those factors can have a very positive influence on you when it comes to your education and what direction you're going to be taking your life following your years in school. And unfortunately, in school you also find a lot of bad influence as well, be it from, as I mentioned, teachers that aren't very good. They don't really try as hard to encourage their students to study. They don't exactly teach you as well as they could. I mean, I had a few bad teachers that had a very bad influence on me. Now, I don't entirely blame them as well, but at the same time, if I would have had, say, for example, like a really good algebra teacher, maybe I would have gotten better at algebra, but maybe at the same time I should have, gone out and got someone to teach me algebra. I don't know. But the point is, we can get good and bad from the same place, be it your family or school. And it's not just the teachers that have potential to be a good or bad influence on you. It's also your peers, your fellow students, your friends. I know I mentioned friends a moment ago, but if you surround yourselves with good friends, they most definitely can have a very good influence on your life. And unfortunately, if you end up around toxic people or bad influences or bullies, obviously they're going to have a very bad influence on your life as a child, as a teenager, and growing up. So the point is, be mindful of who you surround yourself by, whether it's the good people or the bad people. Try and think about everybody that's in your life right now, and ask yourself this question: is this person or that person a good influence on me? Are they someone that generally cares about me? Do they really, consider themselves to be a friend, a family member, a father, mother figure, a grandparent? And if so, then definitely embrace them. Definitely go out of your way to show them that you appreciate the positive influence that they have on your life. However, if there are those, whether they're friends or even unfortunately some family members, that are toxic, that have a negative influence on you, you may want to consider separating yourself from them, especially friends or so-called friends, because at the end of the day, you may find out that they weren't exactly your friend at all, that they were simply just using you for their own gains, or by whispering sweet nothings in your ear or having a negative influence on you, telling you, "Oh, don't worry about studying. Let's skip class, or let's go have some fun." I mean, it's okay to go have fun, but there's a time and a place to have fun, and there's a time and place for learning. So these negative influences are definitely something you don't need in your life. And unfortunately, you're always going to have a degree of negative influence, just like a percentage of positive influence. But you want more positive influence than you want negative influence. And if there is somebody in your life right now that is bringing you down, that's making you depressed, that's, I don't know, making you not looking forward to going to school or looking forward to this or that, or somebody that's just going out of their way to tell you negative things, whether it's about life or about people in general or anything else in particular, and it seems to always be negative. And look, we always have that mix, right, where I'll talk about some things that I'm positive about, and then there's some things that come across negative from me. But overall, I do try to be positive, even though sometimes I can become a little cynical at times and jaded. But I do try to be optimistic, even if sometimes I do feel like a pessimist or a realist. But I aspire to be more positive. But if there's somebody that's just outright negative about this and that, and they're starting to make you feel negative about this and that as well, and you're wondering, well, why am I down all the time? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like the world's against me? Why do I have these negative feelings? It may not be you. It may very well be this one or maybe a few toxic people that you happen to be surrounded by. And I know it's a hard choice for some of you to make this decision, but in the long term, you'll be better off for it if you happen to have a person like this, especially if they're a so-called friend. Family, sometimes family, you just have to put up with them for better or worse. Not always, but sometimes you just have to kind of power through it and just have some sort of belief and hope that you will eventually get to the point where you'll get old enough, you'll be able to graduate from high school and move away from that toxic person, whether they are a friend or family member. But if they are somebody that you can, cut out of your life, especially in the days of social media, where people friend each other on Twitter or various other social sites, Facebook, if people still use Facebook, right? Facebook is dead. Or even like throughout video games or forums or wherever you made this so-called friend of yours, and they're just bringing you down. And every time you guys play a game together and you're chatting, and they're just saying negative things about whatever, and it's making you feel negative, maybe that person doesn't deserve a place in your life. Maybe it's time to say, you know what? This person is bringing me down. This person is toxic. This person is almost 100% negative about everything. And I don't want that in my life. I don't want to be a negative person. I want to be more positive. I want to be more optimistic. The first step is realizing that there are people like that in this world. Unfortunately, for whatever rhyme or reason, they're like that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of what's happened to them at their home. Maybe they've had negative influences in their lives. And if that's the case, then they too need to make a change and take a hard look at the mirror and realize what they become. And I've had to do a lot of self-reflection over the years. And there have definitely been times when I've felt like I was more negative than positive. And it's not easy. But you can influence yourself to become a better person. And that's where the most important influence comes from, yourself. You have to influence yourself to be positive. You have to influence yourself to not be as negative, to not be as pessimistic or cynical. And it's a struggle. I'm the first one to tell all of you how bad of a struggle that is. But it can be done. One step at a time, one day at a time. You just got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that, you know what, there are some bad things going on in the world, a lot of bad things, or bad things going on in your life. But you also have to consider the good things, the positive. Because we do live in a world of positive and negatives, of good and bad. And we all have that ability, that choice to be good or bad, to be positive or negative. And if you feel like you are in the negative range, just take a look around you. See if there's anything around you that's causing you to be negative, whether it is somebody in particular, or maybe even the environment you're in, or maybe the school you're in, or maybe that job you're at. Maybe it's the job. Maybe you're working at a I don't know, a company where it's just negative from the top down. The boss is negative, fellow employees feel negative around you, and it's just a dread for you to go to work every day. Well, maybe it's time for you to start considering finding a new place of employment. Find a job somewhere that is more positive, where they have more positive-minded like employees and a more positive-minded boss. That way, you're going from a toxic environment to a much less toxic environment. And there's always going to be bad days, even at the best of jobs and the best of schools, in the best of family situations, or even when you're with your friends, and even if all your friends are cool. There's going to be times when something bad happens in one of their lives or in life in general, and it's going to bring people down. That's a reality. It's not always going to be sunshine and roses. That's just a fact. But it's not always dark clouds either. It's a little bit of both. But we have the power to make ourselves more positive and to cut out the negative if there is an external negative force in our lives. And unfortunately, most of the time, that is somebody else, whether it is a friend or even somebody you're in a relationship with, like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or even worse, if you're in a miserable marriage and your partner is very negative. You may have to go to your partner, if you really do love them, and tell them, maybe it's time for you to do something about this negativity, because it's bringing me down, it's bringing our family down, and maybe you need to have a hard look at yourself and say, look, this isn't good for either one of us, and if you want this to continue to be a thing, then maybe, just maybe, it's time for us to start taking that negativity and do something about it. And I'm not a counselor, I'm not a shrink, but I would suggest that if there's someone that's having issues like this, either A, try and cut those people out of your lives that are causing you to feel negative all the time through their toxicity, or B, if you're in a situation like that where you are with a partner who you obviously love and you don't want to leave, then you have to confront them on it. You have to just go up to them. I mean, don't be cold about it. Just say, look, I feel like that we need to talk. I've been feeling this way for a while, and I remember the times when we were happy, when we were first together, or the first few months or the first few years, and then something happened, and we need to do something about it. I mean, because in the end, you're partners. Maybe one of you's negative, but maybe it takes the other one to lift the other one back up. To make the other one realize how negative they've become, and then go get help. If you have to go see somebody, go see somebody. I mean, there are definitely counselors out there and shrinks and support groups you can go talk to. And if you're a student in school, go talk to your counselor. If you don't want to talk to your parents, but I would encourage trying to have a dialogue with your parents or legal guardians. I know it's difficult when you're in your teens and you want to be all rebellious and stuff, but if there's something bothering you and you feel like there's no one you can confide in, talk to your mom or dad, or talk to your like I said, your legal guardian, your foster parents, your adopted parents, your grandparents. Talk to somebody in your family that you look up to. That is a positive influence on your life. And have a conversation with them about whatever negativity is going on. That's what I recommend you do. And here's another thing to bear in mind. We have a positive and negative influence on others. That's right. So it's important to realize that everything we do affects everybody around us. Just like someone else may affect us in a negative and positive way, or an environment, whether it's work or school or a town you live in, or a city or a community or a country. We each affect each other. That's right. You, yes, you, have the power to have a positive or a negative effect on others. Be it your friends, or be it your family, or be it the community you live in. So bear that in mind. That if you want people to be positive around you, if you want to be a positive person and you feel like you're more of a negative person, then it's time for a change, because we do influence each other for better or worse, because we're all in this together. We're all connected somehow. I don't know how we're connected. Is it through the force or the Swartz or some sort of mass consciousness? I don't know, but I do believe that there's some sort of connection that we all have to each other, for better or worse. In that capacity, we do have an influence on each other. I have an influence on you. You have an influence on me, for better or worse, like I said, for positive or negative. And if we want to have a better influence on each other, if we want to be more and positive and less negative, if we want to get rid of that toxicity in our lives, we got to first, take that negativity out from within. Look inside us and say, okay, what is bringing me down? What is making me feeling so negative right now? Is it because of a relationship? Is it because of a job issue? Is it because of school? Is it because of this or that? Or a project that I'm trying to get done that's, a pain in the ass and it's just bringing me down? Or is it somebody I thought was a friend that's turned out not to be a friend? Or, a long list of things that could be bringing you down. Try and find a positive solution to that issue. And if you need help, it never hurts to lean on somebody else, somebody in your life, like your family, like your friends, people that are, like I mentioned, a positive influence that you feel like you can confide to, that you can go to, that at the same time, if there was something going on in their life, they could come to you for help. It doesn't hurt to seek help from the people that you care about, those that you look up to, those that have a great positive influence on you. Turn to those people. Those are the people you should be looking towards, not the negative. There's a lot of negative in this world, unfortunately. And I think that's a big problem, is so many of us focus on the negative, myself included. I'm just as guilty as anyone else is, allowing the negative to get the better of me. It just happens. But we do have it within each and every one of us to be more positive and to find solutions to the problems in our lives. That's all we have to do, is just try. And it's not easy. I mean, a lot of the things aren't easy. It takes time to sometimes, resolve issues. Time and patience and dedication in order to accomplish certain goals. And sometimes, I'll also admit this, I sometimes put things off, I'll say I'm going to go do this, and then I get distracted and with other things going on, and I put it off, and it becomes way worse. Like, prime example, I'm not the best at cleaning, for example. The dusting and the vacuuming, of course. I mean, I'm good at, washing dishes and clothes. My house is not a landfill, but, the dust does pile up, the cat hair. And one day, last week, I got tired of it, and I decided to grab the vacuum, and for like an hour or two, I vacuumed all over my house. And it's way better now. And I'm like, wow, this made a world of difference, because I don't see as much cat hair. I don't see as much dust laying around the place. So what it took was me motivating myself to do something about that, because it was a negative. Seeing all the cat hair and the dust. That was a negative, and I wouldn't do anything about that negative until I decided to be proactive about it, grab the vacuum cleaner, and get it done. And yeah, I did. Like I said, it did take a couple of hours to get it vacuumed up, and I probably didn't get all of it, but I got a huge chunk of the cat hair that builds up because I do have 2 cats. So that's what it comes down to, you know, finding ways to combat the negativity in your life. Once again, whether or not it is an internal issue that you have, a problem that's been just, you know, exacerbating, or if it's external, it's, you know, perhaps a family member that's causing negativity for, you know, either the type of person they are, or some of the things that they've done that's had a negative influence on you, or even a so-called friend or schoolmate that's been, you know, pouring negativity into you. It's time to cut them loose. It's time to recognize them for what they are. A negative, toxic entity that should have no place in your life. Less negativity, more positivity. That's what each and every one of us need right now, especially with the way that the things are in the world, right? Because it's like almost every day you wonder, like, if something's going to happen today or tomorrow. Is the stock market going to crash? Is inflation going to go through the roof? Is there going to be war? And those things are real concerns that we all worry about, and they have the power to have a negative influence on us. But at the same time, a lot of that you and I really have no control over. It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. But what we do have control over is how we live our lives and the environment we choose to exist in. We can either have a positive environment where we're surrounded by good people, good friends, good family, good coworkers, a good job, or we can choose to dwell in a toxic environment that continues to pollute us with negativity. In the end, the choice for whether or not you wish to be more positive or more negative, or have more positivity, you know, influence on others, your friends and family and those around you, whether or not you choose to be more positive, whether or not you choose to inspire and influence others to be more positive as opposed to being more negative, is entirely up to you.